In this podcast episode, human biologist Gary Brea sits down with Wim Hof, famously known as the Iceman, to explore the groundbreaking science and personal journey behind Wim's breathing techniques, cold exposure practices, and their profound impact on human physiology and mindset. The conversation delves into breathwork's ability to activate the entire brain, the control individuals can exert over their autonomic nervous system and immune response, the role of cold in physical and mental resilience, and the broader implications for human potential, health, and emotional regulation. Wim Hof recounts his initial encounter with cold at age 17, when, driven by a gut feeling, he immersed himself in icy water in Amsterdam. This moment marked the beginning of a lifelong journey. He shares how cold exposure brought about an overwhelming sense of clarity, euphoria, and a deeper connection to his own physiology and mind, despite no scientific knowledge at the time. This early experience revealed the cold as a portal to unlocking a deeper realm of both brain and body function. Hof emphasizes that this relationship with cold helped him realize the untapped power of the human mind and its potential to transcend perceived limitations. A core theme is the scientific validation of Wim Hof's breathwork in consciously influencing the autonomic nervous system, once thought to operate beyond individual control. Hof explains how specific breathing techniques create a state of respiratory alkalosis by expelling carbon dioxide, temporarily suppressing the breathing reflex. This triggers the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, stimulating an adrenal response that floods the body and brain with oxygen-rich blood and activates survival mechanisms. Clinical studies, including those published in prestigious journals like Nature and the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, demonstrate that such deliberate breathwork enables practitioners to modulate inflammatory cytokines, effectively reducing inflammation at a systemic level. Hof highlights experiments where individuals controlled their immune response even when exposed to endotoxins, proving the body's innate immune system can be consciously regulated to prevent exaggerated inflammatory reactions, the root cause of many diseases. Cold is presented as more than a physical stressor. It is an emotional and energetic challenge that, when consciously engaged with, rewires the nervous system. Hof discusses how cold exposure paired with breath control allows for rapid cleansing of the adrenal axis and body-wide detoxification without the chronic presence of cortisol, which is harmful long-term. He attributes cold's positive effects to hormesis, a self-inflicted acute stress that ultimately strengthens the body's resilience. Cold immersion trains the nervous system to master emotional regulation, liberation from fear responses, and development of a fearless, clear state of mind. Hof stresses intention setting and belief as pivotal, asserting that susceptibility to cold is a choice influenced by mindset. This intentional control over physiological stress responses is akin to training the nervous system like a muscle. The podcast touches heavily on research validating the Wim Hof Method. Apart from immune modulation studies, a recent trial involving 500 participants compared the method to corporate mindfulness and meditation programs, revealing superior benefits in cognitive function, stress resilience, and energy levels, 300% better cognitive awareness and resilience, and 400% greater energy boost than mindfulness alone. Additionally, brain imaging studies showed that breathwork can activate close to 100% of the brain's neural activity, leading to enhanced cerebral blood flow and improved clearance of brain waste through the glymphatic system. This neurological activation promotes greater focus, emotional balance, and overall brain health. Hof and Gary also discuss how these practices could counteract the detrimental effects of digital age isolation and brain understimulation. Wim Hof breaks down the breathing practice itself. It typically involves 20 minutes of deep, conscious breathing where air is taken in freely through the mouth or nose, followed by prolonged breath holds that induce a hypoxic and alkalotic state. This protocol triggers autonomic nervous system engagement, balancing sympathetic and parasympathetic branches, and allows for conscious control over typically involuntary processes. Hof emphasizes simplicity, just get the air in, and don't overcomplicate it, and highlights the importance of daily commitment. He shares anecdotal evidence, including feats of endurance by elite athletes performing the breathwork, demonstrating increased physical output and reduced fatigue, such as enabling stronger performances despite muscular soreness. A significant dimension of the conversation is how breathwork and cold exposure help individuals regain mastery over stress, anxiety, and emotional turmoil. Hoff points to research linking emotional clarity and mood regulation to these practices. By cleansing the adrenal axis and training the nervous system, practitioners learn to detoxify accumulated emotional stress and psychosomatic burdens, resulting in a more balanced psyche and soul. The breath acts as a direct link to regulating emotions, which Hoff describes as the expression of the soul. He stresses that cultivating this awareness and control reinstates trust in oneself and eliminates internal conflict caused by external pressures or misaligned societal expectations. The discussion also covers the remarkable application of the Wim Hof Method in extreme environments, like high altitudes. Hoff relates the story of a 76-year-old man with Lyme disease who summited Mount Kilimanjaro in record time within 31 hours, far quicker than the usual 5 to 9 days needed for acclimatization. This was achieved through conscious breathing that prevents oxygen deficit buildup, enabling the body to better cope with low oxygen tension by optimizing oxygen usage and preventing altitude sickness. Hoff emphasizes that breathwork is essentially training consciousness, being attentive to and managing one's physiological state proactively rather than succumbing to involuntary reflexes. Beyond the physiological benefits, Wim Hof highlights the importance of social connection and group practice. Bringing individuals together in cold exposure and breathwork sessions fosters shared energy, purpose, and lasting bonds. This communal experience counters modern isolation and disconnection, reinforcing the human need for tribe and shared challenge. Such group dynamics enhance the benefits of the method, creating a powerful sense of belonging and motivation that supports sustained personal transformation. Toward the end, the conversation moves into more philosophical terrain, where Wim Hof discusses the relationship between the method and spiritual awakening. He speaks of the breath and cold exposure as gateways to engaging with deeper dimensions of consciousness, facilitating a connection with divine presence or omnipresence. He ties this to ancient wisdom and the realization of personal purpose as the seventh sense, beyond the traditional 5 senses plus intuition. This spiritual aspect underscores the method's capacity to heal not just physical ailments, but also to align individuals with a higher life purpose, promoting happiness, strength, and health as foundational soul traits that transcend ego and fear. The podcast concludes with practical advice for those intrigued by Wim Hof's teachings. Start gradually and safely by following simple breathwork and cold exposure steps available through the official Wim Hof Method platforms. Hof emphasizes that the method is accessible and free at its core, encouraging people to take back control of their own body and mind without dependence on pharmaceuticals or complex interventions. Gary Brea shares his personal testimony of how integrating breathwork into daily life has transformed his health, energy, stress management, and overall outlook, suggesting the practice as an indispensable tool for anyone seeking to enhance their longevity, vitality, and mental clarity.